Hello, welcome back, Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics / Non-Classics. This is episode number 290 and Doubleshot number 221. Okay? I got two Batman trades for you. Okay? Guys. First up, Batman Arkham Knight Volume 2, collecting issues 5 through 9, and I think it's the, let me set that down. It is the, they have one shot in here as well called It's Batman Arkham Knight Batgirl Begins. Pretty much it just details the origin story of basically of how in flashback, the whole story is pretty much takes place before the events of Arkham Knight, is that how Barbara became Batgirl in a way. And in case some of you are wondering, was Killer Moth involved in what was Killer Moth still the first villain that Barbara fought as Batgirl? The answer is yes. If you want to know what Killer Moth looks like in this continuity, he looks like, well, he looks like this. That is what he looks like in this continuity. I gotta say about the design, the suit looks very similar to how he's depicted normally in the pre-Flashway anyways. Though the mask is different color. The mask in here is gold. It's normally depicted as green. That was a good story. But as for the Arkham Knight story, believe it or not, there are two prime focuses of the story. Well, first of which, the Suicide Squad show up in here. I'm not kidding. The Suicide Squad do show up in here. And this is the first time the Suicide Squad has been depicted in the Arkham continuity since Assault on Arkham. Now, in that very film, you had a debut in this continuity of characters like Captain Boomerang, Killer Frost, King Shark, KG Beast. But as for Deadshot, is this his first appearance? No. His first actual appearance, the first time he ever appeared in this continuity before Arkham Origins came out, was Arkham City. He did appear in Arkham Origins, and I gotta say, for someone who has played Arkham Origins, he is a tough character to beat, and you have to beat him on a side mission. Yeah, and he's got and here's the thing. For a guy who's a master sniper, who's the world's mightiest, who's basically one of the world's greatest snipers in DC Comics, the guy's got a ton of body armor. Yeah, I am not kidding. He is a tough guy to beat. When I was playing the game, I had to fight him several times in order to beat him in the game. As someone who's played Arkham Origins, now I know some people have a problem with the game. They think because, it's not made by Rocksteady, the game is not canon. I mean, the game is unnecessary, and it introduced stuff that was completely necessary. Here's something you should know. That game is canon, because Arkham Knight references it. How? Firefly references the fact that it had been 5 years. Actually, I think at that point it might have been 6, because Arkham Origins takes place 5 years before Arkham Asylum. So, actually, it's been 6. At that point, it's been 6 years. He does reference Arkham Knight in the game itself. Firefly himself does not make an appearance in here. As for the Arkham Knight himself, his appearance is very vague. One thing I do appreciate for a prequel story, they keep his identity hidden, despite the fact that before the game came out, people were already guessing of who the Arkham Knight was. I'm not going to reveal who it was, because the internet's already spoiled already. People who haven't seen the game, haven't played the game, but I watched the playthrough. You have Batman fighting Bane in here. The only first I can definitely say it happens in here is that you have the first in-continuity appearance of Metamorpho, a guy who has no association with Batman. Well, he has been to Batman comics. Poison Ivy shows up in here as well. Here's some artwork in here. I should also mention that the artists, there are a few different artists in here. The writer is Piero J. Tomasi. He writes this entire series and anything associated with the stuff leading up to Arkham Knight. The artist is there are at least 3 different artists, 4 artists. You have Viktor Bogovic. Let's see if I can find them on here. Put credits on here. Yeah, I also have A. Guerrero and Matt Clark. Tim Seeley also is a writer on here as well. Not only have you have Bane versus Poison Ivy, first time these two have ever met that I could think of. You also have some stuff dealing with the GCPD. Waller herself shows up in here dealing with Deadshot. But if you want to know exactly what Metamorpho looks like in this continuity, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, basically the first half of this is simply Batman versus Bane. Yeah, a rematch that people I probably wanted to see since, in continuity wise, since the original Arkham Asylum game. Oh, and by the way, I did fight him. When you play Arkham Warden, he's one of the assassins that goes after Batman. And by the way, he is tough, really, really tough. And for the line for this Suicide Squad person here, it is Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, and Killer Croc. Yep, Killer Croc. Yeah, it's just pure fun. There's one issue I really love in here. It's a nice standalone issue between like mini story arcs here. It's this Batman talking to this one guy. He says his name was Archie Freeman, and get this, he was an usher at Monarch Theater. People who know Batman mythology, people who know the Batman history knows Batman has a history with this very theater. What was the history? Bruce Wayne, as a little boy, depends on which writer. Most writers depict him as 8. Frank Miller depicted him as 6. And Scott Snyder depicted him as 10. But he went to go see The Mark of Zorro. And afterwards, right after leaving the theater, on that very same night, that's when Thomas and Martha Wayne were killed. So that's why this guy basically has a very big association with Batman. Oh, and I should also spoil this. Well, these issues have been out for a while now, so I can spoil this. Let's see if I can get to the particular page. Yeah. The thing is, I'm not going to show the actual page what happened, but Deadshot kills Captain Boomerang. Yeah. Yeah, and here's the thing. Here's the reason why he killed him. Never really liked that guy. He rarely showered. So he killed him because he didn't like him, and he very rarely showered. Okay, I get that. But I have a question for this. Why the heck would it take him 5 years to kill him? He's known this guy for 5 years. You know, as I know that's because the Assault on Arkham movie takes place a year before Arkham Asylum. Yeah. And aside from Amanda Waller, of course, Penguin shows up here as well. Penguin shows up almost every issue of this. Okay. This is what Metamorpho looks like. He's basically Peter J. Tomasi, who creates this version of Metamorpho. I think it's Len Wein who wrote the Metamorpho story for Legends of Tomorrow. I hope that guy comes back. But yeah, basically, he's depicted. Now they don't reveal what his real name is, which I think that's kind of dumb for Tomasi to do. But basically, Metamorpho is this monster who's got no redeeming qualities about him. This is probably the only major misstep for this entire for these issues. Is the bringing Metamorpho was fine, but making him this creature from some leftover experiment, okay. And I do know for a fact that Simon Stagg does show up in the Arkham Knight video game. I know because I've seen a walkthrough of it. But I think that the reason why that Peter J. Tomasi threw Metamorpho in here, because he knew that Simon Stagg was going to appear in the game. So they got to have somebody associated with Metamorpho appear in the game as sort of like a lead-in to that character. Just Simon. Simon's the only one who disappeared in the game. Sorry, that's my phone. But I would say that out of the 4 issues, aside from the Batgirl Begins one shot, which I love that one, of the 5 issues in here, I would say that the standalone issue, which I believe that's probably, and this is my guess, I think that's probably either 7 or 8. I'm not sure which one it is. But the standalone issue where Batman is with a former usher from Monarch Theater, basically remembering Monarch Theater, stuff like that. That's my favorite issue of this entire trade, aside from the Batgirl Begins one shot. So, for this trade, I give it a 9.5 out of 10. It was just so good, despite the stuff with Metamorpho. I love the fact that Metamorpho gets kept his colors. The way he's depicted, the way he's drawn, it's fantastic. The artist does a fantastic job. It's how he's depicted. It's how he's written in there. I have a kind of problem with it. Maybe because Pierre J. Tomas hasn't written. He has written Metamorpho before. In the I'm trying to remember what series was that. That was Batman and the Outsiders. Yeah, he wrote in Batman and the Outsiders. So he is familiar with writing the character. I just don't know why he was depicted like some unstoppable chemical type of thing. It's just so bizarre, to say the least. But I did enjoy that. It was still good, despite the hiccup with Metamorpho. Next up, Batman Shadow the Bat. Collected the first 12 issues of this series. 12 out of 94. Now, all the issues are written by Alan Grant, the ones in this trade. There are a few artists on here. You have Norm Breyfield, who does the first 5 issues. Dan Jurgens does only 1 issue. I believe he does issue 6. Let's see. For the other artists in here, let's see if I can find in here. Let's see. Yeah, the first 5 issues are done by Norman Breyfield. Yeah, he does the first 5. Issue 6 is done by Jurgens. Let's see here. Trying to confirm it. Yeah. Let's see. It's a Black Spider. Yeah, Dan Jurgens does issue 6. That's the Ugly American. Let's see here. The 7 through 9 is done by Tim Sale. I think he does 1 other issue in here, if I'm not mistaken, of the 7 issues appear in here. Of the 12 appear in here. Let's see here. Trying to look here. Yeah, I'm getting close. Mike Collins does issue 10. That's Thane of Gotham. That's the name of the story. And the last couple issues are done by Tim Sale. Now, I should also mention, prior to this trade coming out, the only trade that featured the chase of Shadow the Bat that would not crossover stuff was Batman Last Arkham, which is in here. All 4 issues of that are in here. Now, the covers for the issues in here and the trade cover was done by Bill Oakley and Brian Silfries, if I mispronounced the name. Yeah, those two do all the covers. I think they do this cover as well. Now, I should point out that the Shadow of the Bat series, despite the fact lasting 94 issues, it had 2 writers the entire time. The first 82 were done by Alan Grant. The last 12 were done by Chuck Dixon. From my perspective, there were some bad issues here and there, but mostly was from Alan Grant. Yeah, he had some weird, not awful issues, but kind of bad, but not too bad. But these issues in here, they're all really good. Yeah, all the issues in this very trade are very, very good. Now, this trade was only released just 2 months ago. And even though this trade only costs $25. If this was released by Marvel, they would charge $35 or $40 for this dang thing. But DC, $25. That's not too much to ask for. I mean, it's 12 issues. It's a thick book. It makes sense for DC to charge this price for it. Of course, I got this from the library, but yeah. But these issues, they're all really good. Let me show off some artwork in here. Yeah, that's the original artist, Norm Breyfield. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is Dan Jurgens. This is his artwork. Yeah. This artwork is very good. Let's see here. Here's some Tim Sale. Now, the Misfits is basically comprised of C-list villains. There's the Chancer, Killer Moth, which I was surprised to see the guy. He looked different. Yeah, how's Dan Jorgens? Oh, yeah. Catman shows up in here. Yes, Catman. People are familiar with him from Secret Six. But yeah, this is supposed to be Catman. I'm not kidding about that. That's supposed to be Catman. And who else shows up in this story? Why? Calendar Man, a guy who Tim Sale would later draw for Long Halloween and Dark Victory. Yep. And this is supposed to be Killer Moth. Okay, it's an okay design for a costume, but keeps the same motif he's known for having. Basically being ridiculous. Now, why are they called the Misfits? Because they're not really big names. They're basically B and C-list villains. They're not like the Joker or Penguin or Catwoman or Poison Ivy. They're B-listers. They're not big on Batman's priority list to take down. He will take them down. Just that he's not like, they're like, in case any of these guys break out of jail, it's not like Batman's big priority to take him down. But if it's something like the Joker, yeah, he does make his top priority because Joker is dangerous. These three guys are dangerous, but Joker is a lot more dangerous. I thought it was interesting that they threw in the Black Spider. Yeah. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The Misfits was actually was not done by Jurgens. It was done by Tim Sale. Jurgens did the no, he didn't do the Black Spider story. He did the Ugly American, which was a good story. But yeah, got a lot of good villains. Now the last Arkham story. Now that did win some awards because of how well Alan Grant depicted, sort of almost accurately depicted of how an actual mental institution would be normally a realistic depiction of it, which was really nice. And the one thing about the last Arkham storyline was that it was the introduction of two very important Batman characters. One was Jeremiah Arkham, the head of Arkham Asylum, who actually remains to this day still the head of Arkham Asylum, despite a few years of him being Black Mask. Yeah, despite the fact he spent a few years being Black Mask, even when the reboot, even when the New 52 reboot happened, they still kept him as the head of Arkham Asylum, despite how crazy the guy is. Oh yeah, it's also the introduction of this guy, if I can get to him. You also have Robin Nightwing show up in here as well, but yeah. There is one particular character who does show up in here. That's not a good depiction of it. Yeah, for some reason, yeah, because of how he nearly killed an orderly. Let's see here. I'm trying to get a good depiction of him. Him and his fancy scars he's known for having. Good thing that that he was speaking out company was growing. Victor Zsasz. This is Victor Zsasz. That is how Norm Breyfogle, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced his name, but that's how he drew him. But later on they would have him shaved bald, and he actually does wear shorts. Here he's depicted in nude. I have no idea why. Probably because he's insane. I mean, I get the fact the scars on him are basically important. Now, there have been two depictions of this character in live action. First in Batman Begins, where they depict him as a hitman. Got no lines, there was nothing to the character. The character was a throwaway character anyways. He was depicted a lot better in Gotham. I still didn't like the fact he was a freaking hitman. But at least they actually kept him crazy, and he was bald. Oh, and he actually did that thing where he does scars, like after he kills somebody, he takes a knife and just puts a tally mark in his skin. Yeah, in his debut episode, he actually did that in season 1 of Gotham. Yeah, he did do that, which I do appreciate the writers of Gotham. Even though, yeah, they still kept him as a mob hitman, But at least they kept the scarring thing and it kept the fact that he was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Yeah, but the one portrayal of his that people love a lot is how he was depicted in Arkham Asylum. Insane. Heck, even his appearance is exactly how he's normally depicted in the comics. Insane. He's got like a dog collar on him, and he's got all the telemarks on himself. It is great. So for this trade, I give it a 9 out of 10. It is just awesomeness at its finest. I do recommend picking up people who are Batman fans. If you never read Shadow of the Bat before, start here. Start with this very trade. It's not that really expensive to get, and it should be not hard to find. It's only been out for 2 months. Volume 2 is coming out in January. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for episode 291 and Doubleshot number 222, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check that, just to be sure. Yeah, 222. But until then, see you there. Bye.